It was originally Firestone tyres back in the 60s that coined the phrase race on Sunday, sell on Monday. And in the world of enduro mountain biking, there's a long list of brands all wanting to bag an EWS win to prove their product at the highest level and sell a load of bikes in the process. But last year, only 3 bikes managed to pull off a victory. There was the Yeti SB150, ridden by Richie Rude. There's the Nukeproof Mega with Sam Hill in the driving seat. And there's the new GT Force piloted by Martin Maes. Now, we've already tested the SB150 and absolutely loved it. But if your pockets aren't quite deep enough to afford a Yeti, then both Nukeproof and GT have got carbon models for about £1,000 less than the entry-level SB150. The GT Force Carbon Pro comes in at a penny shy of £4,000, and it's completely redesigned for 2019. In fact, it's the most expensive bike in the Force range, but it's pretty close to what Martin Maes rode to victory in the Whistler round of the EWS. It runs a carbon front triangle with alloy stays and uses a genuine 4-bar linkage with a reborn LTS suspension system. The shock is trunnion mounted to the rocker link with bearings to improve small bump compliance, and there's a flip chip giving 2 geometry settings. The newest addition to the Nukeproof family is the entry-level Mega 275C Pro. Now, while the spec is different, it shares the same carbon frame that took Sam Hill to 2 consecutive EWS world titles. In fact, it's the SRAM GX Eagle group set and some smart component choices like the Guide RE brakes that differentiate this model from Hill's race bike. In terms of geometry and sizing, it's the more progressive of the 2 bikes. This size large frame has a generous 470mm reach measurement, and the shorter seat tube allows for a 170mm RockShox reverb post. That's 20mm longer than the GT. At 64.1 degrees, it has the slackest head angle, and this helps give it the longest wheelbase. The Mega also has the most suspension in this test. It's sporting a 170mm travel RockShox Lyric RC fork, sporting a Charger 2 damper cartridge. This unit is not quite as effective on big square edge hits as the RCT3 or RC2 damper units, but it offers good grip and a buttery smooth ride on everything else. Also, the range of rebound adjustment is more usable than the GT's Fox 36. Out back, the RockShox Super Deluxe RCT unit is pumping out 165mm of travel, and it's the exact same shock found on the top end model. This is really important as the frame linkage and shock work in tandem, and by keeping the shock specification unchanged, Nukeproof can guarantee the exact same level of performance and maintain ride characteristics across the range. It's so fundamental, it's difficult to comprehend why so many bike brands fit different shocks to every single model. GT has pulled out all of the stops to fit factory level suspension to the top end Force, but with 160mm of travel up front, it's 10mm shy of what the team riders are running, and it also gets the Fit 4 damper rather than the top end RC2. The fork has got plenty of support, but it lacks the sensitivity of the RockShox units, so your hands take more of a battering, something not helped by the hard, skinny grips and the fact that you have to jack up the fork pressure to help raise the front end. If you can hold on to the bar though, you're in for a treat, as GT has done a really good job with the rear suspension. This bike doesn't hook up or chip away at your momentum, even on the roughest trails, so straight line speed is impressive. The progression rate of the LTS linkage is good too, so you can use the full 150mm of travel without the bike bottoming out too easily or wallowing in the mid-stroke. At 80 kilograms, we ran the rebound adjuster on the DPX2 in the full open setting, so it would probably benefit from a lighter shock tune to increase the range of adjustment. As good as it is, we found several red flags with the build kit. The alloy end caps on the GT grips reduce the effective width of the 780 bar by 10mm per side, which makes the bike feel smaller than the reach measurement suggests. And there's no rubber chainstay protector to silence the chain slap. While these are small details that are easy to remedy, it's more expensive to fix the 175mm crank arms. We clipped pedals several times, so the 170mm versions that are fitted to the Nukeproof are definitely the way forward. It was GT's choice of tyre compound that was the biggest letdown though. We're big fans of the blocky tread pattern of Schwalbe's Magic Mary tyre, but the basic Addicts Performance Series rubber is just too hard for a bike of this calibre. Confidence is a big part of riding, especially when trying to go fast. And it was immediately apparent that the Nukeproof allowed us to ride more aggressively. That's partly because the riding position put us in total control. The bar height is spot on relative to the pedals, and the weight distribution between both wheels feels perfectly balanced, which means you don't need to adapt to the bike by putting yourself in a compromised riding position. It's very neutral without ever feeling dull, and you can really lay it into turns, which makes it a total blast to ride. With so many mixed messages coming from the build kit, it was actually really hard to get a handle on the underlying performance of the GT Force. Jacking up fork pressure to increase the height of the front end wasn't ideal. Also, the short head tube gives an artificially long reach measurement, and once you raise the stem, the bike feels smaller than the numbers suggest. When we fitted a higher rise bar, better tyres and some 3M rubber tape on the chainstay, the GT Force finally started to spread its wings. Thanks to the LTS suspension, this bike can be ridden fast for sure. But GT needs to get the basics right if the GT Force is really going to fly. By adding the 275C Pro to the Mega range, Nukeproof adds top-level performance to a more competitive price point. You get the same race-winning carbon frame and shock as the top-tier bike, and the SRAM GX Eagle group set means you don't need to compromise on gearing. Factor in the race-tuned geometry and sizing, and the Mega 275C Pro handles like a dream. It needs a new front tyre that can cope with a wider variety of conditions, but given how well this bike rides, we couldn't let that get in the way of a perfect 10 rating. Both of these bikes prove that competition at the highest level breeds excellent products. But it's the balanced suspension and dialed build of the Nukeproof that allows the Mega 275C to mount the top step of the podium in this test.